All right, here we are with video 5. This is one it's going to be a little bit shorter, so kind of get into it. I guess as always, I'll start with my joke, and I got to come up with some better ones because this was just awful. So my joke is, why should you not give Elsa a balloon? Answer being, she'll just let it go. So again, try to block that out if you need to, but starting off with my joke. So today's going to be kind of talking a little bit more about the battles and maybe not going into specifics of some of them, but to kind of almost give like an overall broader idea of what the battles were going to be like here. So to start off, we're going to talk about the Northern Campaign. So once we're at this time period and we're already fighting in the war, the British, they are going to try to capture New York City. And they do this kind of for two reasons. The first one, there are a lot of loyalists there. They know that there are a lot of people that are still loyal to the crown there. So that's going to be where they have a lot of help, a lot of assistance on their side. The second thing that they want to try to do, once they convert this, they want to take care of the harbor. So once they capture New York City, they're going to have the people who are going to be wealthy, the people who are going to be able to help them out, and they're also going to be able to take control of the Hudson River. So essentially kind of split the colonies in two, almost the idea of like we're going to divide and conquer here. So the British, they do this pretty easily. It's not going to take them that long. And under General William Howe, he is going to be in command of it, and now they're going to start to do the idea of dividing and conquering. So once they have that, they also are going to start to head to Philadelphia. And Philadelphia is a very, very important city at this time period. And the reason it's so important, this is where the Continental Congress is currently meeting. So his idea, General Howe, if he's able to get to Philadelphia, capture the Continental Congress, kind of capture the government, the people who are calling the shots at this time period, the war is going to be over. So the British, again, they are the strongest army. They have more training, but a big issue is they are lacking in funding. They don't have the money. So they want to kind of have this quick, decisive victory. Therefore, if the British General Howe, if he's able to go there and get the Continental Congress, he's going to have control of it. He's going to be able to end the war very early. And while they're on their way there, one thing that's a little bit hard to think about, winter hits, war stops. And again, to me, it's just kind of like almost mind-blowing. It's a little bit odd. Here we're fighting, we're trying to end this war. We're going to try to do it as quick as possible. But, okay, the season, the winter, it starts to get bad. Therefore, we need to stop. It's kind of weird. But Washington, again, at this time period, he revolutionizes the way that war is going to be fought. The first way I talked about before, again, the British, they had the best kind of strategy for their army. Line up here on one side, we'll line up over here. We'll take turns shooting at each other. Obviously, the country with the more funding, the more soldiers, the more military, they are going to be able to have a lot more success there. So what he does to revolutionize it, yes, we already talked about the guerrilla warfare, but he's going to attack on December 25th. So him and a group of about 2,400 men, they cross the Delaware, and you probably see that famous picture that's going to be in pretty much taking up most of the screen on the right there, of him going and crossing the Delaware, going and achieving 2 small victories before they start their winter camping in Valley Forge. And Valley Forge we'll talk more about tomorrow. That's going to be an area, a location where realistically it's their fort. It's horrible conditions. They don't have food. They have a lot of diseases. They don't have adequate hygiene, all those types of things, and we'll kind of talk about that more. But that's going to be the Northern Campaign. Now, all of a sudden, now when winter is over, campaigns are going to begin. So on September 11th, 1777, General Howe captures Philadelphia at the Battle of Brandywine Creek. But as we talk about this, we knew that Howe was on his way to Philadelphia before the winter. After winter, we know he's going to be doing the exact same thing. So he is going to be able to capture Philadelphia, but in a way, it's going to be a failure for him and his soldiers because they're not able to capture the Continental Congress. So because of that reason, yes, it's going to help them build morale. Yes, it's going to help them out in the long run. But the main idea, the main decision for going to Philadelphia to capture the Continental Congress, that is going to be a failure there. So now once he starts to do that, General John Burgoyne is going to march from Quebec, and he's going to meet up with his allies in Saratoga. Or that's going to be his goal, is to meet up there. However, once he gets there, he realizes that Howe and Burgoyne, they are on different pages. Maps at this time period weren't really that adequate. They were not that good. And one of the reasons that they weren't that good, people, they would just make up maps for fun. They could sell it, make a profit, people would get lost, but hey, they just turned a profit that way. So anyways, Burgoyne, he's on his way there, he gets to Saratoga, but while he gets there, he realizes it's going to be an ambush attack. So the Americans, this is going to be their first decisive victory. They beat the British at the Battle of Saratoga, and this isn't going to be Washington at this time period. This is going to be Benedict Arnold, which a name maybe some of you have heard of before, but Benedict Arnold isn't a name that a lot of people have a lot of good ideas or good thoughts about. because eventually he is going to switch side because he does not believe he's getting enough recognition. But regardless, kind of the biggest things at this time period, yes, we win the Battle of Saratoga, but because we win that battle, the French, they now agree that they're going to openly fight against the British, and they're going to help out the Americans. Now, the British and the French, we talked about them early on in the chapter, they're going to be two people who have a rivalry. And we talked about the French and Indian War and how most of those two countries have been at war for years and years and years, trying to become the largest power of the time period. So now the French are going to be able to openly help us. That's going to be on our side. They are also the first to declare us, the United States, as an independent nation. Once we do that, about a year later, the Spanish, they're also going to join the fight. So tides are definitely starting to turn against the British. You know, again, I keep bringing it up. It's kind of important to talk about how the British, they are the strongest army. They are the strongest military. But after we win at Saratoga, after we kind of start to push them out of New York City, they're going to start to head south. So General Cornwallis, he's going to be the new person that is going to be in charge of the armed forces for the British. General Cornwallis, they're going to capture Savannah, taking over Georgia. You know, they're not just kind of capturing cities just at random. Just like with New York City, the South, that is where most of the Loyalists were living. So he thinks, take over the South, start to head north. We're going to kind of build almost this massive empire in the South, and we're going to be able to start to conquer these other areas. So he's able to conquer and capture Savannah, Georgia. 5 months later, Cornwallis, they are going to move on Charleston, South Carolina. This is going to be the biggest defeat for the Americans during the war. Nearly 5,500 troops are forced to surrender. So this idea, once Cornwallis is going to be in power of taking over the South, early on is definitely going to be a success for them. But after they do this, and you know, I talked about the Loyalists, they have the numbers and the money that they have on their side with the Loyalists, the Patriots are also going to be very strong in the South as well. And when I say that, these aren't going to be the people that are like living in the cities. I don't know if you call it like rednecks or like mountain men, but they are slowly going to start to take over these smaller villages. And once they start to do that, they start to take down the roads, they start to destroy it. So the British, they're marching, trying to get to this new location, but simply put, they can't get there because these people know the routes, they know the roads. They're going to slowly but surely start to pick them off that way. So shortly after that decisive victory, on October 17th, 1780, the Patriots, they win the Battle of Kings Mountain, which drove most of the British out of the South. So because of that reason, the British are almost on the run. You know, we talked about in the North, when they have New York City, it's going to be successful. But all of a sudden, after the Battle of Saratoga, morale starts to change. They start to lose that control there. In the South, they're able to take it over with Georgia. But again, after the Battle of Kings Mountain, slowly they start to lose that control there. So now they are definitely going to start to be on the run. And since the newly founded American Navy does not have many ships, Congress, they're going to issue letters of marque. And I know I kind of went into that and sped into it kind of quickly. But the British, again, we talked about how strong of an army they have. They also have the strongest navy in the world. So as far as talking about fighting on other fronts, they are going to try to use the navy as much as possible. The Americans, the colonists, they don't have that. They don't have the money. They don't have the numbers. They just can't fight on that front. So they issue that letter of marque, which really all that does is it brings a merchant ship into the war. So as long as a merchant is wanting and willing to fight on that front, they can do that. They're not just going to tell them all of a sudden that you have to, but they're not going to kind of form that kind of relationship there that way. But the letters of marque are definitely going to be something that is going to help out in that sense there. And then tomorrow we'll wrap it up with the ending of the war and kind of what the new government is going to be like. So again, I know I've forgotten the last couple ones, but still make sure you guys are asking those questions when we come around and talk about what you saw in the notes and asking that question so we can have that discussion. That way, make sure you guys are getting that done and getting that taken care of.